So Kandahar Airfield, it's like a bizarre universe, and it represents many ways that the international aspect of this war. It's broken up into, there's a Canadian camp, there's a Dutch camp, there's a NATO gym that you can go to, then there's an American gym.
Didn't you say that one of the gyms you said is like spa quality, swanky and weird?
It's not the American gym. The American gym stinks. It's big, lots of heavy weights, pull-up bars, and it's very... they call it the prison gym.
I was just going to say, it sounds very prison yard.
That's what they call it.
It's MSNBC Weekend Gym.
The other gym, the NATO gym, is more like a fitness center or an LA sports club or something like that. You have to change your shoes when you go there. You get a bottle of water and a towel, and it's, I think, almost emblematic of the entire conflict. There's also in the middle of the base a thing called the courtyard, and that's in the middle of the base, not that far from the sewer. You'll smell the sewer when you're standing there. And in the courtyard, there is a hockey rink built by the Canadians, and they have the keyboard where they play, dun 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 dun
wow.
dun 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 dun, and they get really into the games, and you'll see the soldiers dress up in their Canadian jerseys, and the Dutch all come in with their jerseys on. And there's a TGI Fridays here, real TGI Fridays.
I did actually go to the TGI Fridays at the big base at Kandahar Airfield, but I found myself incapable of going in. This is the aforementioned TGI Fridays on base at Kandahar Airfield. I'm not going in. I don't think I'm supposed to or something. It just feels wrong. Joining us now live here on set at Camp Phoenix in Kabul is NBC's chief foreign correspondent and my friend Richard Engel. Richard, thanks for getting up early and coming out here.
It's absolutely a pleasure. How are you?
Good.
Did you see a hockey game?
I did actually see a hockey game. What was funny is it's street hockey, but they're all wearing ice hockey gear.
Did they have the keyboard?
They didn't have the keyboard. I was sort of psyched to see that.
Special occasion. Maybe that's for a championship game.
I think it was 4th of July, so maybe the Canadians were thinking we got to dial it down a little bit for the Americans.
Well, it's good to see you here.
Thank you. We've been talking since I've been here about essentially whether or not people, particularly folks at home, have the right impression of what's going on in the war, particularly in the South.
No, I don't think they do. And I think you've talked about this in your reporting over the last couple of days, that the impression is there's a massive troop presence building in Kandahar. That's true. And that suddenly they're going to get the orders and then they're going to flatten the city and storm the city and clear it out of Taliban. That's not what they're doing. This is a much longer process, perhaps even a more difficult process, because they're trying to prop up this local government, which is corrupt and problematic and has been ineffective. There will be heavy fighting in the suburbs, and I guess that's part of Kandahar province, but in the built-up urban areas of downtown Kandahar, you might see some fighting, you might see some car bombs, but it's not going to be a push through the city.
On the issue of the deadline for leaving. The deadline for leaving, again, it's about that. It's about understanding that not all war looks like a war movie, that sometimes war looks like standing up police, standing up governance. And it's sometimes weird to see the U.S. military trying to be the tool to accomplish that end. But the deadline, what I didn't really understand before I got here is what the deadline does. The deadline creates a sense of urgency among the Afghans that they've got to start taking over this stuff because the Americans are
maybe or maybe not.
I know you and I don't totally agree on this.
Well, a lot of people say the deadline does just the opposite effect. That, let's say you're the Afghan government, and I'm saying, look, I'm going to be here for a year, and then I'm starting to draw down, so you better take advantage of this year and do what I want.
Yeah.
Well, you could also say, you're the Afghan government, well, you're only going to be here a year, so why do I need to listen to you?
But that's only true if the Afghan government doesn't feel vulnerable about the idea of us leaving. I mean, the national government, I don't think, has very optimistic about its chances of staying in power once all the coalition forces are gone, are they?
It depends. Yeah. President Karzai has made it clear that he's looking beyond U.S. forces. He's looked to Afghanistan, he's looked to Pakistan, he's had meetings with Iran. Clearly, he likes the benefits of having U.S. troops here.
Yeah.
But if you keep convincing Karzai that, look, we're leaving, that there are other options. Yeah. There's the Soviet sphere of influence, and the Russians. It does to a degree, and many people here on the ground will argue that it takes some of your arguing power away. Unless what you're trying to do is get them to try to be self-sufficient. If you and the government have the same objective, and then you can say, okay, we have the same objective. We have a year. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the same objective, then it gives you a year to wait it out.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Obviously, since we've been here, General Petraeus has come in to assume command. How do you think, obviously, Petraeus was involved in setting up the strategy that General McChrystal was implementing. So this is not like a 90-degree turn away from what we were previously doing. But how does it change things here?
Very different personalities.
Okay.
General Petraeus, very strong personality, close to President Obama. That is key, that he's seen as having the president's ear.
Yeah.
General McChrystal, frankly, was often accused of kowtowing to Karzai. That Karzai did what he wanted, he would become hysterical every once in a while, and that General McChrystal, because he wasn't seen to be backed by the president, the American president, didn't really take him to task. That's changing, and I've been told that's changing already.
Okay.
That there have been several meetings, at least 2 meetings so far, between General Petraeus and President Karzai, and they haven't gone very well. The first meeting, a dinner, cordial, no problems there. The second meeting turned into an argument, and that is a potentially not ominous sign, but a sign of different times. And the argument was over General Petraeus, like he did in Iraq, wants to create a local force to work with Americans, a militia, so to speak. They wouldn't be called militias, they'd be called citizen groups. There have been attempts to create this in the past. Every time, Karzai has crushed them. There is now a $150 million budget to create these militias, if you will.
Sons of Afghanistan.
Sons of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Petraeus wants them. He had success with them in Iraq. Karzai doesn't. This could be a major point of conflict.
And when you read that one of the great assets of Petraeus is his very positive relationship with everybody involved, including Karzai, that new reporting, what you're able to report here for the first time, adds, I think, an important new dimension to that. Richard, thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Are we going to keep hanging out?
I'm here.
All right,
I'm here.
All right. NBC's chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel. Check out more of Richard's excellent reporting on what the U.S. is doing in Afghanistan on our blog. We've got some incredible original stuff there from Richard. It's maddowblog.msnbc.com. If the big idea of what we're doing here now, in year 9 of this war, is that we're trying to give the Afghan government its best chance at being and staying in charge here so the Taliban doesn't come back, part of what that means is law and order. And part of law and order is locking people up. After Abu Ghraib, after Bagram, the way that locking people up is being dealt with now here in Afghanistan is not what you think. We've got some amazing footage you've never seen anywhere else when we come back.